What's up, everybody? So, apologies for not making a video yesterday. It's been really busy. We've been focusing a lot on something that's taken us months of work to get to and is now finally coming together. It involves Room on Fire. And we'll be making, obviously, we're going to be making an announcement tomorrow, basically. And so it's just been like that last home stretch towards getting everything ironed out, everything sorted. But it's pretty cool. It's been a lot of fun. Unfortunately, that meant that I didn't do a video yesterday. And today has been equally hectic, but 2 days running on something that's supposed to be daily, not really feeling it. So we're going to try and do a video. So I was looking a little bit through the news, and I was just, kind of looking around actually at a few things. What's fun is totally unrelated to CS, but what's fun is there was just a recent little bit of news that came out with Overwatch that apparently the Overwatch teams, they managed to band together and make E-League change their format, their tournament format, right? Because apparently E-League originally wanted to have something that we've had in the past with CS, but not for a long time, a single elimination bracket right from the start, straight up single elimination bracket through and through, and you had to run the gauntlet and make it all the way to the finals. But apparently that has changed. Apparently now they have a much more CS-like, or I guess standard, kind of format, which is basically going to be a double elimination group phase with, which is basically how we usually run our groups, right, in CS, and then it goes into a single elimination bracket. But what was fun about this, and I guess this is why it made news, is the fact that apparently the teams banded together and sent a joint email towards to E-League, the E-League commissioner, etc., asking for these changes to be made. One of the other changes, which is interesting, was the fact that apparently there will be no international fights before the finals, meaning you'll have European teams, you'll have North American teams. They're all in different groups. They're separated, NA with NA, EU with EU, and even into the bracket, it's going to be separated all the way up until the finals. And so, first thing you think, and this is actually brought up as well in the article, is just that E-League, apparently the finals are going to be televised, and so they obviously want to have that storyline, going into it where they can build on this, where it's just, okay, now we're seeing the European teams and we're whittling that down. It's like different conferences, I guess, in sports, right? NBA, NHL, right? Different regions, and they battle it out there to determine the best team from the region, and then eventually those regions clash. And so it looks like they're trying to do the same thing here with Overwatch, where it's going to be, NA on one side of the bracket, EU on the other, and then at the end, it's the hoedown, the final meet. So, I mean, it's fun. It's fun. It's going to be fun. I mean, it's not exactly, I suppose what I hear right now is that Overwatch is still very European favored as far as the skill is concerned. And so it may not be the best tournament to reflect on, who is the best team at the time, perhaps, because you could have you could realistically have Euro versus Euro in the finals going head to head. But still, you're going to have most likely, you're going to have EU versus NA in the finals. So that was one thing that I was, coasting through the news trying to take a look around, and I found that pretty interesting because obviously due to the coach ruling with Valve, there's been a lot of talk from the players that they were going to have a sit down, that the players, the in-game leaders for the players and the coaches and the team owners and everybody, everything was, a big brouhaha trying to figure out a solution to take to Valve and actually try and get Valve to sit down at the table and have a discussion. And, there was quite a bit of talk. Vugo mentioned it. I believe Fallen was calling for it on Twitter. And ever since, I haven't really heard anything, And so I was kind of wondering, right? So this little bit of news came up in Overwatch where the teams banded together and successfully got something to change. And, we were supposed to have our coup, our revolution or union or whatever you want to call it, right, happen in our game. And it doesn't appear that it actually has. Or we haven't heard any news. Nothing has changed. Valve haven't come back on their statement and said, right, okay, we made a mistake. We're going to go ahead and allow for the coaches to continue to be involved at the same level that they are now. We haven't had the players, come out and say, where is our, we sat with Valve, we had a long discussion, and this was what was decided, right? And so one way or another, this is the way it's going to go. We haven't had anything. And so kind of wondering, kind of actually want to reach out to some of the players now and see, hey, Has there been any progress made on this, or are we just going to, I mean, has there been a talk? If there's been a talk, did it go yay or nay? Was there a talk at all? Should we be getting all in uproar, or should we just be wondering, right, is this how it's going to just continue? We need some kind of update on this topic, I think, because this was a pretty big event and it made some waves, the fact that Valve decided to remove the coaches from that role. So a little bit of similar to that. I mean, we've already had lots of discussions regarding players and coaches, and a union being formed. It's been talked about for ages. There's different people who are supposed to be heading it up. There are different people pushing for it. Then we found out that it was a Skype group, similar to what we had in Dota back in the day. And I mean, I don't even know if that Dota 2 Skype chat is even happening now, you know, as far as the players banding together. And I don't know if there's any progress being made for CS and the players trying to band together. It seems like Wesa, another company that apparently we haven't heard too much about, although apparently they did find a new commissioner who's replaced Ferangeli, if I'm not mistaken, the lawyer who was the interim commissioner. Apparently they have found a man who headed up HBO Sports and who's had success in the entertainment field, right? Apparently they found somebody to be the lead commissioner, or the commissioner rather of this organization. And so that actually got posted to the Reddit, and I felt like it didn't really get too much attention, didn't really take off at all. Nobody was really talking about it. And we have to remember that one of the things, at least one of the things that was said when Wesa came out, was that, you know, the players and the conditions of the players, and, you know, player security, player safety, all these sorts of things, right, were a concern of Wesa, and that they wanted to have the players represented. Now we found out apparently that Vugo is the chairman for the players, or the head of the players, right? He's been voted into that position, which might be why he wants to take a little bit more of a step back from all the travel, etc. If he has this to worry about on top of analyzing for Fnatic, on top of managing for Fnatic, hell, on top of in-game leading for Fnatic at some point in time, right? If that might explain why he wants to take a little bit of a step back. If this Wesa thing is going to take up a significant amount of his time, if there is a constant discussion. I mean, this Wesa is very much, you know, on the down low right now. We aren't hearing a whole lot about it, about what's going on, apart from what is it, a flowchart that showed up on a flowchart that showed up on the front page the other day, you know, trying to make it look like the conspiracy, right? Everything is coming together, and Jens Hilger's backing Fnatic, backing G2, co-owner of G2, and then Ralph Reichart selling his shares in SK Gaming. Apparently he had like a very minor share, at least as far as we had heard. He had a very minor share in SK, but apparently he sold that to ES Force, if that's what actually happened. I mean, I don't know. Everything is in cahoots. But Wesa, of course, was at the core of that. Considering the launch with Wesa and the shitstorm that came from that, I guess we can't be too surprised that they're trying to stay down low until they can actually get their house in order and perhaps start having a big change, or something that comes to the fore that says, right, we are doing something. Here's an example of what we were trying to do, and it's clear cut, and it's very clean. Unfortunately for them, they just keep getting hammered by you know, some of this news that breaks, including, you know, Ralph and SK and all this other stuff. So I don't know. I'm right now. This is very much like a rambly video on different things. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about, which was interesting, was what made it to the top of the CSGO subreddit today. And it looks like that comes from the Pro League results from yesterday night in North America, the fact that apparently Liquid beat SK. And so I wake up and I'm lying in bed with Reddit, you know, looking at the news. And you know, top of the Reddit, I read, you know, Liquid defeats SK. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Except that then you find out, wait, but Fer is not back, and Showtime is standing in. You're like, okay. So not only was it an online victory, but SK had a stand-in as well, and SK are coming off of like a 2-month break. So, you know, this isn't to harass Liquid or anything like that. I mean, obviously they're making progress. Looking at the stats of the matches afterwards, you can see that everybody's kind of, it seems to be like they're coming into their own, in particular on Mirage. Mirage was definitely a closer victory. I mean, 16-13 isn't a clean sweep. 16-10 is a little bit more decisive, but 16-13, you know, that means that SK were able to battle back, and Cold certainly had quite a few kills, it looks like. But we're not looking at a full-strength SK here, and we're definitely not considering Fer, who's such an integral part of that team, not there. Replaced by Showtime, who definitely is not a Fer. So And also, a Liquid basically who are still trying to figure it out. Pimp had a fantastic first map, but then going into the second map, he kind of tapered off. What was nice about the second map, though, was the fact that it wasn't just somebody taking off and hard carrying, right? So individual performance. It was a little bit more even across the board as far as the kills are concerned, and that bodes well. That gets me feeling a little bit more confident for Liquid, just because in general you want to see a team where, yes, okay, you have the star players. They should be sitting at the top, right? And they usually are. But there's no real weakness or gap. Nobody really lagging behind. Everybody's kind of getting their job done. That kind of speaks to good teamwork. That kind of speaks to good positioning, communication. These sorts of key things, right, that are part of a team that make a team good. And so if everybody seems to be doing their job, that to me bodes well. And so Liquid, obviously, as far as the results are concerned for Pro League, they're going to be feeling pretty good because, you just took down SK, who haven't really played any matches yet in North America, in the North American League. And so you started, a bit of a rough start for SK, but you've certainly needed those 2 wins. That's going to be a big boon for you. But as far as, where the teams stand right now, I don't think that I think that people, let's not say, oh, it's the end of the streak and Liquid have finally defeated SK, and it's more just like, no, Liquid, they managed to beat them online. They managed to beat them with a stand-in. Does this bode well for Liquid? Yes, it means that they're making progress, right? Because with players like Cold and Fallen, you're always at risk. Even with the stand-in, you're always at risk. So they still managed to lock it down and beat SK. But is this the Liquid and the shining moment? No, I don't think so. So calm down a little bit. Let's be patient. Wait and see how things develop. Give it a month when Fur gets back, and we'll see how things play there when Fur is back into the roster. If he's going to be up to snuff, he's probably practicing individually right now just so he doesn't drop off on skill. But it sounds like he needs to. It's going to take him a bit of time to get reintegrated into the team, and so yeah. Point is, calm down a little bit. Context is kind of important in these sorts of scenarios, right? And so don't forget the context of the scenario. Don't forget that and try and blow things up. Chill, guys, chill. So I covered a few different topics, including a different game. Yeah, the show, I don't know exactly. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I want this show to be. If I'm just going to ramble about general topics, if I'm going to be a bit more focused on certain things, if if it's going to be just about CS, or if it's going to start, coffee. Right, I want this to be a little bit more of an open thing. So maybe if I spot news in a different game, I might talk about that kind of news as well. Lots of coffee, but it's actually water today. But I was feeling a bit dehydrated. But what I was saying is I'm not quite sure where the show is going to go yet. I think it's kind of just feeling it out right now. So today covered a few different topics. Tomorrow is going to be super busy. It's going to be a lot of stuff going on. And yeah, it's just good times. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good day.